Silence your cell phones now.
This is a perfect opportunity for Dads to meet Uncle Drew, the greatest blacktop player I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, my nuts.
Oh, Joe Nuts.
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew.
What's going on, YouTube? It's SC, the place to be. Children, Mr. Andy, back to you guys another movie experience. Before I go any further, let me explain to you what's going on here. So right here, I had an old YouTube channel where I did a ton of movie reviews and I did a ton of content, stuff like that. So when we started over and split my channel into two with NC Studios and NC Level Up, I was doing videos called Remasters, which would be my old movie reviews that I would take that I did back in the day, remaster them, add a new opening, cut out the old ending, the long endings we used to have, the long opening, stuff like that, and put a new template on it and re-release it so you guys could watch it. So that was my plan for doing it for Space Jam 2: A New Legacy coming out this weekend. So I was like, okay, well, Space Jam 2 coming out, let's talk about, great sports movies that we like. So I was sitting looking for my Uncle Drew file and I couldn't find it. I think I deleted it. I don't know what happened. I've been trying to search for it, do everything, and I just cannot find this thing. I'm like, this is something I thought about I recorded, but I'm pretty sure I did. So I said, you know what? We're going to record, talk about Uncle Drew. Yes, the movie is about 2 years old, and it was supposed to be a remaster, but I said, but you know what? We here now. So the remaster turned into a review. So that's some of the backstory of what's going on with Uncle Drew. So I'm a huge sports guy. When it comes to basketball and wrestling are my two top loves. Mine is my kids, my wife, and God. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to movies, when it comes to like hobbies and stuff like that, wrestling and basketball, two favorite sports. And so I love me a good basketball movie, So of course we all know we've seen the original Space Jam. I plan on having a review for Space Jam up and all stuff like that. But so let's get into this new movie by Kyrie Irving called Uncle Drew. So Uncle Drew obviously was something that was done in commercials, because Kyrie Irving had these commercials with Uncle Drew. He was dressed up in old makeup and just go school the young kids on the court. It was like, it used to be like him and Kevin Love, a couple other people that would do these commercials. So, but it was mostly all about Uncle Drew. So it's kind of like if anybody ever seen the LeBrons before. So yeah, it's Uncle Drew. So Pepsi decided, hey, let's turn this thing into a movie. So they turn this thing into the movie, and they go out there and get basketball's biggest superstars, but they get more the older side. They get Shaq, they get my boy C-Webb, they get Lisa Leslie, they get Nate Robinson, they get Reggie Miller. So now that represents more of the older squad, minus Nate Robinson, opposed to the Aaron Gordon is like the young fresh guy. So they got Lil Rel, and he's a guy who loves basketball, got embarrassed when he was younger, still got the bullet on his tail, and there's this game tournament that comes up for about $100,000. Well, Tiffany Haddish plays his girlfriend. He puts all his money he can into this tournament, and obviously she ain't here if he's gonna be broke, and then she leaves him. So now he has to win this money because he's broke. He got thrown out of his house. So, but everybody's like, well, if you're trying to go get a squad, you need to go check out Uncle Drew. Uncle Drew was a legend at Rucker Park, because everybody know if you live in New York, Rucker Park's the place. So when you had Dr. J and you had all them kind of legends over there, but no, you got to check out Uncle Drew. He's like, but he's old. Well, Uncle Drew, he sees Uncle Drew, he sees how he can play. But the only ultimatum is Uncle Drew will do this if you take my squad. So we get a whole road trip as he's collected his old squad from Chris Webber, Shaq, Nate Robinson, and Reggie Miller to go play this basketball tournament. So I'm gonna give you guys, if you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe button. I'm gonna give you guys the good, I'm gonna give you guys the bad about the movie, I'm gonna give you guys the experience. So starting off with the good. All right, so the good real quick is Lil Rel. Now I think I heard rumors that it's supposed to be Kevin Hart, but then they got Lil Rel. He's coming fresh off of Get Out at this time, and I think he's hilarious. I really think he's hilarious, especially knowing his comedy and stuff like that now. But like I said, I seen this 2 years ago. I've been watching. Every time it comes on, I watch it, and he makes it funny. And usually when it comes to basketball players and coming to these movies, they try to take themselves seriously. Sometimes they can't act like, look, we went through Jordan Space Jam, who he didn't want to be there. We went through Ray Allen, and he got game, like he didn't want to be there sometimes. But but this movie, I felt it all. First of all the guys in the movie were entertaining. First of all, Shaq is going to be Shaq. Okay, people say Shaq can't act like that, but Shaq is like, if you're not talking about Shaquille O'Neal, the dominant basketball center, then he don't take himself seriously. But when you talking about Shaquille O'Neal, he takes himself seriously. Reggie Miller, I think Reggie Miller was hilarious to me, but I think the best ones, in my personal opinion, is Chris Webber and Lisa Leslie, because Chris Webber is the pastor. Every time Chris Webber was on there, it could be a slight biases for me because I am a huge Chris Webber fan. Chris Webber is one of my favorite players of all time. So I was like, there could be slight biases here, but he was legit, had me dying in the movie.
No, please. My man Kevin Durant started a new beginning in Golden State.
You preach, preacher.
He's gonna dunk a baby.
Him and Lisa Leslie and the whole exchange that they had, because they were husband and wife, and they were both pastors at this church. So I thought, all that was fine. So Kyrie as Uncle Drew was cool. I mean, Kyrie ain't like the GOAT when it comes to acting or anything like that, but it served its purpose. But I was like, but everybody else's makeup, like I like Chris Webber's makeup. I like Nate Robinson's makeup because Nate Robinson at first. Shaq also liked Shaq, but everybody looked older than what they did. But Kyrie, I was just like, man, they gave the bottom of the bottom that the Kyrie looks like almost. I was like, well, they could have did a little bit more better makeup with Kyrie Irving, but that's mostly the good stuff, the good about it. Let's get to the bad. I mean, it's a really simple story. You have seen this kind of movie and all kind of basketball movies, like from crossover to any kind of basketball movie you see when it comes to the plot. It's always about that. It's always about that game that they got to play for the stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Tiffany Haddish is in it. She's just being Tiffany Haddish. Obviously, she knows the camera's on, and sometimes it's predictable, and sometimes it's like, well, it's the simple formula. But it doesn't bother me too much because I'm used to seeing all this kind of stuff in basketball movies, especially sports movies like that, and it doesn't bother me. So that's what I want to get more so about the bad. And it's like I said, some of the makeup job, especially when it came to Kyrie Irving, I think it was too good. But let's go into the experience if I can remember it. Now, once again, I don't remember if I went to the movies to see Uncle Drew. I don't, because if I did, nobody wanted to come with me because my wife did not want to see Uncle Drew. So, but I remember catching it. I had a good time. Every time Uncle Drew comes on the TV, I watch it. So I will sit down there and watch Uncle Drew. I watch all sports movies, especially basketball, because those are my favorite. So that's what we got here. So when it comes to Uncle Drew, which I thought was actually pretty decent. It didn't embarrass itself. I thought it was a pretty decent basketball movie. I give Uncle Drew like a B-. People wouldn't rate it that high, obviously, but me personally, I was like, it didn't insult me so much like a lot of other basketball movies. It wasn't crossover, okay? With Anthony Mackie and Wayne Bray, it wasn't crossover. I've seen worse basketball movies than that, but I was like, okay, but you know what? It's in my top. So post a comments down below how you guys enjoy Uncle Drew. I'm sorry, I know this is a more up-to-date review, but it's like it wasn't the remaster. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review. Hit the subscribe button for more reviews and remastered reviews right here on NC Studios every single weekend. So once again, it's NC, a place to be. Children, Mr. Andy, and I'll see you at the movies.